Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Nichols, and I'm the media chair for the Bernards Township Democratic Committee. I want to welcome you all this evening and thank you for joining us. This is our second town hall live with our two candidates running for Bernards Township Committee. Let me introduce Sophia Chadda and John Sandler.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are super excited to speak with you and answer any and all questions. So for anyone who doesn't know, my name is Sophia Chadda, and I am running for Bernards Township Committee.
Hey, everybody. I'm John Sandler, and I'm running alongside Sophia for Bernards Township Committee. Very excited for tonight to answer some questions, have folks get to know us a little bit better, and just see what happens.
Hey, so while we're waiting for other people to tune in, I have a question for you guys. How is the 30-day Shop Local Challenge going?
I've been having a great time with it. I drag my kids all over town, and it's a bit of an adventure, you know, trying places I either haven't been before or haven't been in a while. It's great to support local businesses, and I'm getting a lot of questions from friends that are following anxiously, wondering where we're going to end up next. So just having a lot of time with it and supporting local businesses has been great.
Good.
I agree completely with John. We've had a great time reaching out to businesses, many of which we reached out to last year when we visited a lot of businesses in the business districts. But I think this year especially, businesses are really happy when we come in and do our 30-day challenge because so many have been suffering since the pandemic. Business is down, and this is just John and I's way of supporting our local businesses, putting them first, and really letting them know that we are completely behind them 100%, and we'll do everything we can to help them if we are elected.
So we're in day what? Are we going into day 20, 21? We in the home stretch?
I think it's day 20 today. I think we're getting close.
Have you run out of places yet?
Almost. Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, there are a lot of options. But yeah, sometimes it's a challenge, and there are plenty of places that Sophia has gone and that I would love to go, and I'll go anyway, but we're not going to feature because we want to make sure that every as many businesses as possible get a shout out. And so it's been fun. It's been a challenge at times, trying to find the time to do it, but it's been great.
So we did get a question in from email. Let me just find it here really quick. So Judy, we got an email from Judy, and she was talking about bike riders, that she feels like they've grown in numbers during the pandemic, and that dedicated cyclists and new casual riders, I'm going to put it up here, dedicated cyclists and new casual riders, many are seniors. What are your thoughts about promoting bike racks at local businesses?
I think it's a great idea. Number one, bike riding provides a lot of benefits, both physical and mental. It decreases our carbon footprint. And at the same time, we can support our local businesses because so many of those bike riders are visiting local establishments, like, for example, coffee shops. So I think it's a great idea, and I would definitely support it.
Agree completely. It just gives people another opportunity to stop in town and visit our businesses. Obviously, you know, safety is always paramount, and we'd have to be thoughtful about where we put the bike racks to make sure that, you know, they're in a reasonable place. But other than that, I think it's a wonderful idea, and it's great that people are getting outside and in the beautiful weather, and people that are normally going to take a bike ride and just come home, if we give them an opportunity to stop in and get a cup of coffee or a snack, all the better.
Great. So people watching, let's get some questions from you. Let us know you're there. We can see your comments. We'd love to see people comment. Who's here?
So just while we wait for that, I just wanted to comment quickly on the primary was this past Tuesday, and the turnout was just phenomenal. It was really, really encouraging to see the number of folks that came out and the folks that weren't afraid to vote by mail, particularly on the Democratic side, showed a great confidence in the fact that it works, that it's nothing to be afraid of, keeps everybody safe, allows people to social distance, and it allows you to vote and not have to worry about going someplace where you're concerned about going. So I think the turnout in and of itself, and the fact that the county has not had to discard, any large number of VDM ballots as a result of any concerns, I think that it was hugely encouraging, and I think that it will become a great alternative. I don't know what's going to happen in November, obviously, but I think that having this past Tuesday was certainly a great encouraging thing in terms of if that's what we need to do in November.
I couldn't agree more with you, John. We had a really great turnout, and for that, I'm so thankful and appreciative to everyone who returned their vote by mail ballot, and for those who didn't, who showed up and voted with their provisional ballots. Thank you. We had a lot of support, and we want to ride that wave. And in November, John and I would love to represent you on the Township Committee, and I couldn't be happier or prouder to be running alongside a great running mate like John.
Thank you, Sophia. And hi, Jane. It's good to see you. Thank you for watching.
Hi, Jane. Hi, Fred.
Fred says, it's great that you got many more votes in the primary than your opponents. What do you think this means for November?
I'm encouraged by it. The count isn't done. I think that there are a lot of provisional votes to be counted. I think that votes are still rolling in, but knowing where we left off, I'm encouraged by it. You look at Sophia and I both got over 1,400 votes, and that's a huge number, and we're thrilled with it. That number's rising, so we feel good.
And I would say that I think really, we're running because we want to see local government that's more transparent, more innovative, and more inclusive. And really what we need are different voices and diverse voices. And I think now more than ever, people really want to see that change. They want to see different people on the Township Committee that have different ideas.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you're seeing an outcry in the community. You're seeing great letters to the editor. One just came out today of folks just saying, look, we need new voices on the Township Committee. We need people that are going to listen to the residents, that are going to make, the interests of Bernard's Township, their top priority. And that's what Sophia and I are going to do. We're going to go out there and we're going to be diligent, and we're going to be thoughtful, and we're going to listen to what the residents have to say. And that's what motivates us to be elected in November, is to act as representatives of the people of Bernard's Township.
And just to add on to that, I will say that in the aftermath of the George Floyd murder and the ensuing protests, I think really people are looking for leaders that understand the plight of marginalized communities and leaders who have empathy, something that is sorely lacking in many of our elected leaders. And remember that local leadership is directly related to what's happening in our national leadership. So, we want to be those leaders that represent our American values of liberty, justice, equality, diversity, self-government, and individualism.
I agree.
Okay, so Arnez says, hello, Sophia, John, and she has a question.
Hi, Arnaz.
What are your thoughts on schools opening in September?
That's a great question. I think for us, the Township Committee really doesn't deal with that. It's more of the Board of Ed, even though we have a liaison to the Board of Ed. But from my understanding, they did have a 4-hour meeting last night to discuss some of the ideas. And from what I understand, about 20% of the students might be virtual. The other 80% would be divided into 40% would be at school certain days, and the other 40% would be at school the other days. But really, a lot remains to be seen. We are still in July. Things could change in August, and we really have to follow the guidelines set forth by Governor Murphy.
I agree. I watched the bulk of that meeting along with my wife last night, the Board of Ed meeting that went till after 11 o'clock. And, there were over 50 public comments. They got through as many as they could. Superintendent Mark Herring did a great job laying out the possible alternatives. And at the end of the day, Bernards Township, it has to act within the measures and the regulations put in place by Governor Murphy and Trenton. And it's a really difficult position because people are going to be unhappy no matter what you do. But at the end of the day, the safety of our students and the safety of our teachers has to be our top priority. And as a working parent and a wife who works full time, of course we worry about how it's going to play out if the kids are on some sort of a hybrid schedule of half days or every other day or alternating weeks, or what happens if things get scaled back again. But we're fortunate that we've got employers that are willing to work with us, and again, safety has got to be the top priority. So a big thank you to the superintendent and the Board of Ed that are doing their best to work through what is really a huge task in a very, very short period of time. So big thanks to them.
And John, I just wanted to ask you actually both of you guys have kids who are still at school and living at home, right? So how's that been going?
That's been really tough, really, really tough. And it's hard for someone who can't, like myself, who can't work from home. That's a real challenge. So it remains to be seen what is going to happen. But there are a number of people that don't have the luxury to work from home. And that's something that we're going to have to navigate. But it definitely has been a challenge.
For sure. My wife and I are fortunate that we're both able to work from home at this point. And we'll be probably, for at least, through the summer. And the kids, they've been incredibly resilient, enjoying spending a lot of time outside. My kids are actually starting day camp next week, which I think will be wonderful for them. It'll get a little more structure in their life, and we're excited for it. We're cautiously optimistic for what the fall holds, and returning to certainly not normal, but the new normal. And when things are better and things are safer, we'll continue down that road.
Okay, guys, so we have another question from Anna Duarte McCarthy. What are your thoughts on the Township Committee resolution to form a diversity committee?
I think that they were remiss in not agreeing to it at the last meeting. I think that what people are looking for is someone to acknowledge some of the pain and suffering that they've been experiencing, and to not do so is more hurtful. So I think that going forward, it's about hearing people, and the diversity committee, the number of people on it can change. It doesn't have to be a small number. It can include many people, many faiths, all different types of people. But I think that it has to be done because there is a shift in thinking. People want this diversity committee. They want to be acknowledged. And I think that it's only right.
I agree. As I mentioned, excuse me, in our last town hall where Joan Harris was a great guest, I was at the Township Committee meeting, and I was shocked that the majority of the Township Committee ignored what sounded to be the unanimous will of the voters and of the people that live in Bernards Township. I mean, at the end of the day, the Township Committee is the governing body. They're the government in Bernards Township, and the Township can only act through them. And the Township Committee, in my mind, made a very, very bold statement by refusing to act in the face of what seemed to be huge support by the Township. So I would hope that they would reconsider that direction, that they listen to the people, that they read the comments of the newspaper and the letters to the editors, and they understand that, and it's 3 committee members in particular, they understand that, what Joan Harris put out there was a blueprint. It wasn't set in stone. And if there are genuine concerns about the layout of the format of the committee, that can be changed. But to reject it outright and offer to form a forum or some other less formal kind of group, I think that sends the wrong message to the people of Bernards Township.
I agree.
Okay, so we have a comment. Bridget, this is a comment, not a question, but it's a nice comment. You have my household's votes and my parents who have been in town for nearly 40 years. We support you. Your signs are proudly on our lawns. Go, Chadda Sandler.
Thank you, Bridget.
That's great.
Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Bridget.
your support.
Absolutely.
Jennifer Sperling-Kluger, thanks for doing these town halls and for addressing questions from township residents. Yay.
And
Miriam says, great job.
thank you.
That's a plant. That's a plant. I think we need to figure out who that person is.
Slice of Gourmet loves your 30-day shop local challenge.
Thank you, Slice of Gourmet.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
So do we have other questions? Does anybody in our audience have any more questions or compliments? We'll take compliments as well.
So if no one has anything, I can just bring something up that we've been discussing a fair amount. We're hearing people talk about it in town, and that's the Lord Stirling Stables. Obviously, it's township property, and so it's county property. So there's but so much we can do as a township. But because it sits here in Bernards Township, it's incredibly important to our residents. And we're hearing significant outcry. There was a petition circulated by a resident in town that got over 4,000 votes. And I would hope that the county government is going to look into this and try and figure out what happened and see what we can do to save the stables, to bring them back up and running in some way, shape, or form, because people are really, really upset about it.
Yeah, I remember, John, when I used to ride horses, just the mental and physical aspects of horseback riding they're intangible, and they're really amazing. I mean, mentally, you have that peace of mind, serenity, release of serotonin. Physically, you get a complete workout, everything from your core to your back muscles, your leg muscles. It's really a great activity. And what's nice about Lord Stirling is they cater to many different types of riders. They have everything from lessons to parties to fundraisers to therapeutic riding. So it really is one of the crowning jewels of not only Somerset County, but of Bernards Township. And it's really one of the ways that we get value for our tax dollars. So this petition was circulated, like you said, got over 4,000 signatures. And really what we need to find out is what happened to the stable? Why was it closed? Why were we not informed about it before it was closed? And really this brings up an issue of transparency and the lack of transparency. So I think it's really important to get to the bottom of it. And if there's anything that John and I can do to help save the Lord Stirling stable, we will do it.
Absolutely. I think a lot of questions have to be asked in terms of the processes that occurred. And if anything can be done, I would hope that, the current township committee in Bernards Township would throw their full support behind whatever they could do. And obviously Sophia and I would do the same. We would really, do everything in our power, understanding that it's county property and a county park. But, I think it's because it sits in our township, we've really got a vested interest in its longevity and its success.
Okay, so we have another question from Fred about, he's sad to say that they have to remove their signs until the general election, I'm assuming he means, is near. Can we get the township rules to override HOAs? Or township rules to override HOAs?
So I don't live in I don't live in a place where there's an HOA. So my sign will be on my lawn from now until November, and maybe until I die in this house in 50 years. We'll see. But
win or lose, right?
Win or lose, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Frank, that's sort of a constitutional question, and whether or not HOAs can impinge on your First Amendment rights. I don't really know the answer to that question.
I'm not sure about the answer there, but I do, from what I do know, if I'm not mistaken, you are allowed to keep it in the window of your home. So
okay. I think so, because somebody was just talking about that, where they can put it in their window as long as it's not out on the property.
Continue to show your support for John and I, which we really, really appreciate and need.
Yeah.
Well, and it leads to this next
from the elements then, right? You got lots of windows. It's not going to
There you go. Well, and it leads to this next question. Raymond Chen, how do we get campaign merch to support you? So in addition to signs, we will have the magnets coming soon, right? Mm-hmm. What else do we have coming?
Thank you.
Do we have buttons?
Actually, I'm actually going to have T-shirts coming in. We might have those. We had chapsticks last year. So, well, we really need money to buy all these wonderful swag items. So, hint, hint.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with when we can get out and meet people. You know, in addition to these online town halls, which we're going to continue to do, we're planning some smaller, more intimate, in-person meet and greet. You know, masked on, social distance type things. And you know, hopefully, when we have an opportunity to meet some people, we'll have some things to give away, and people can proudly support us, be it on their cars or on their lawns or on their lips or whatever the case may be.
Okay, so I'm going through here. So, okay, so this is a follow-up to the stables question. Jennifer says, do you think that with your connections to the county freeholders, you might have a better chance at getting answers from them?
Absolutely. We are very lucky that we have good relationships with the at least the three members of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. And that carries tremendous weight, because with those great relationships, we can get more done for our town. Not to mention the relationship with our congressman.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, we've got such a wonderful group of freeholders now. The Democrats have the majority. And one of the things people haven't been talking about, you know, Democrats get this terrible reputation of raising taxes and overspending. And with the Democrat-controlled chosen Board of Freeholders in Somerset County, they actually cut county taxes for the first time in I don't know how long. So I think that, you know, they've got, you know, a smart group of freeholders that are going to sharpen the pencil and take a look at everything. And you know, like Sophia said, we've got great relationships with them that we'll leverage for sure to get as much as we can for the residents of Bernards Township.
And just to add on to you, John, they did cut taxes by 1.3% in a budget that has, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's quite a significant amount of something that we can all be really proud of.
For sure.
We've also got, this is also follow up on the stables. Douglas says, thanks for supporting the stable. Please reach out to the Friends of Lord Stirling Stable.
Will do.
Well, thank you,
Douglas.
Cool. All right. So speaking of signs, Jane says there have been several signs stolen in the town, and I'm wondering what the best source of action is for the people to whom this is happening. You guys have heard about some of that, yeah?
Sure.
So one of the people that I know had a sign stolen from her front lawn, and she did call the police and she did file a report. The sign was found in a ditch, you know, less than half a mile away. But yeah, I don't believe anything was really done.
Yeah, I've also heard of you know, certain signs, not necessarily our campaign signs, some other signs in town, some say their name signs, some Black Lives Matter signs that have gone missing or been defaced. And look, that's a terrible thing. But I think as residents, if that happens, all you can do is make a police report and make sure there's a record of the incident, and hope that we as a community can do better. And I think we can.
Well, guys, that is about all the time that we have for tonight. So do we also want to talk about our first in-person, very small capacity meet and greet that will be outdoors, socially distanced, very, very responsible?
Sure. Yeah, we're really looking forward to that meet and greet, and it's more one-on-one. Of course, we'll all be wearing masks and socially distancing, but it's great for us to be able to meet you guys and for you guys to be able to meet us face to face and answer any additional questions that you might have.
Absolutely. Very excited for it. It's a unique year where you're going to see us in boxes on your screens and, you know, in smaller settings, because we're not going to be able to get out there and shake hands and knock on doors and go to township and community events. So, you know, this is how we're going to have to run this campaign going forward. And it's different and maybe not ideal, but I think we're excited about it.
Great. Well, until next time. Yeah?
Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. It's been
Sarah,
great.
Okay, guys.
Tuning in.
Thanks, Sophia. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sarah. Bye-bye.